Guys, we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes here. See if anybody else wants to join us. Bobby, did you post on Facebook that it was on now?
Yes.
Little reminder. All right, cool. One sec. All right, let's really quick. Thanks, everybody. I just wanted to give a quick thanks for everybody to come. We're going to be doing these hopefully a little more often because we want you guys to know what's going on. Feel like your voices are all heard. Can everybody hear me okay? Everybody want to you don't have to talk, but in chat, just make sure everybody can hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Great. Just because I don't want anybody missing anything. All right. So hopefully everyone can hear me. If you can't, sucks to suck. I'm not going to type everything out. So figure it out. Cool. So welcome everybody. This is our first town hall meeting that we're going to have. We're going to have a couple. We're going to try and have one at least once a month. Ideally, we're going to do that more than once a month. We'll do it once every 2 weeks or so. If you guys really like it, we can start doing it more and more. We can divide it up by departments or whatever you guys want to do. But basically, the point of the town hall meetings, and for those of you that have been with NeverEndless for a while, you know we've done these before. It seemed like a lot of people really liked them, and we just want to make sure that everybody enjoys the experience to the best of their ability. We want you guys to feel like you know what's going on the staff side of things. So we're going to start here. I'm going to talk about a little bit about myself because everybody loves to talk about themselves. Let you guys know where my background is, and then we'll talk a little bit about the staff, what we're doing in the staff on the operations side, and then we'll try and do that quickly, and then we'll get to the development side with Jason in a bit, and then we'll finish off with suggestions, questions, stuff like that. So a little background. I am a project engineer now. I used to be a project manager. I work with a company called Chemtrade Logistics. We are a chemical company, but I focus on project management, project leadership, staff management, and things like that. So does it directly necessarily apply? No, NeverEndless isn't exactly a chemical manufacturing company, but the management part does apply. So that's what I do for a living. That's my professional job. And I have been working with NeverEndless for on and off 2009?
Probably.
Something like 2009. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So I started off as a TeamSpeak moderator. Well, good question. I had stumbled upon NeverEndless because of a friend of mine who was playing here, and he was a Inquisitor at the time. And I started off as Inquisitorial Squad. I applied for staff. I was 16. How many years ago was 2009? Was how many years ago? 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, I was 16, 17, 18. One of those. I was young, and I started as an Inquisitor, and I had eventually left for a little while as I was going off to college, and then I came back to TeamSpeak moderator. Did that for a while, became the assistant head of TeamSpeak when Jem Bella was here, and she was the head of TeamSpeak. And I eventually left from there because I was starting a new job and the whole 9 yards. So I left, and then I recently came back to NeverEndless as I saw on Facebook that it was coming back to life. And I reached out to Bobby about how long ago was it now? 6 months ago or so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And I reached out to him, kind of give him a background on what I do, my background with NeverEndless in the past, and we just saw it as a good fit, and that's kind of how I ended up where I am. So that's a little bit of my background in real life. It's a little bit about my background with NeverEndless. So we'll just kind of leave that there, and if anybody has any questions, we can ask them in a little bit. But we'll talk a little bit about what I've done with the staff so far and where we plan to go with the staff. Right now, we have a singular moderator led by Dune. He's the head of moderation staff at NeverEndless, so he's going to be in charge of all things Discord, forums. So Dune's a familiar face. Most of you that have been here should recognize him. On the other end, we have the Battle Masters and the Game Masters, who are led right now by Dragon Lady, who I know all of you know very well. So she is the head of all in-game staff. She's assisted by 2 people that are here. One of them isn't. The other one is. The head Battle Master right now is Altieri, who most of you know very, very well. And our Game Master Supervisor is Fuzi. So, and then we have a couple other people that are in here from the staff that we'll introduce in a little bit later. But that's the operations leadership in a nutshell. If you guys have anything.
Dragon Lady.
Yes. Dragon Lady and Dune are our operations heads of staff. Their job is to oversee the supervisors and oversee their respective departments. So if anybody has any questions, suggestions, if you don't want to direct them to me, you can always direct them to them or Fuzi or Altieri for their respective in-game departments. Firestorm and Nitrox were no longer with us. They had personal things that they had to attend to, so they're not with us right now.
They do hope to come back, but you know, it's real life has take precedence, right?
So yeah, so they're not with us right now due to real life reasons, and as a staff, we all are very, very focused on real life first, because this is a game and we want everybody to feel like it doesn't intrude on their personal lives too much. I mean, it is sort of a job being on staff. That's not sort of it is a job. It's a second job. It's supposed to be fun. So we don't want it to ever intrude on the staff's real life. And that's a big focus of ours. So that's kind of where the staff is right now. We have a Battle Master group that is in the works right now. Altier is leading that. And the Game Master has been around a while. Fuzi is leading that, and obviously Dragon Lady is leading the both. On the other side, Dune has one moderator right now, Red Squirrel, so you'll see him in Discord and on the forums frequently. That group will grow as more people use the forums. I encourage you all to use the forums. I think the forums are useful for posting guides. If you guys want to post any guides for PvP or PvE, for your respective class, those are always really cool to do, and we appreciate those. So that's a pretty useful thing for the forums and such. So,
and a more active forums is, for lack of a better term, a great recruitment tool for players to either A, come back, new players to decide whether they want to play here, and I'm working on recruiting guilds that have left to come back, or some guilds from Warmain that are, we all understand the problems with Warmain just because the culture is a little adversarial and there's lag and issues. So anyways.
Yeah. So that's really that for the operations side. Before we move on to something else, does anybody have any operations or staff related questions that aren't development related? So things like game master questions, support ticket questions, anything like that. Now is the time to ask. You can ask in chat and I will answer to the best of my ability, or if it's a question specifically for another staff member that you see online, you can ask that too. So since everybody's typing, we'll give you all a second to write questions. Well, Grant, Jason isn't the owner of the server that merged with us. He's just the person that performed the merge. So he's not.
Jason is Virex and has been our head dev. I don't know, Jason, how long? 5 years? 4 years?
5, 4, something like that. It's merged into one. It's gone too fast.
So we're going to get to Jason here in a second, because Jason is the most important person.
If you want to know about the merge, just to be very blunt about it, a person by the name of Crisis came to me, said that he lost his server, but he had database backups. The name of the server was Evolution WoW. We proceeded to make an agreement with him to restore the data on NeverEndless, and we were going to, have his players. Okay. After Jason spent the better part of a week, you have to remember there's development issues. So let's say somebody on their server had the same name as somebody on our server. We had to make contingencies for that. Account names can't be the same. IDs can't be the same. So there were a lot of guild names can't be the same. So there were a lot of things that we had to do to distinguish them, change, and have those players change the information on their first login and things like that. Okay. We get close to the being all done, which took a long time. And we start to hear rumors that their old server was still up, that the server was called something else, all sorts of different things. To make a long story short, Crisis has kind of disappeared. Haven't heard from him in at least 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
His brother His name is Marwan in Discord. He has a character in game as well named Marwan. I guess he's a Syrian pot dealer, which is an interesting career in Syria, I would think. But he said that he's having problems getting people from their old server to come over here because they can't figure out how to log in. And really what happens is the first time they log in, it says, are you a user from the merged server? Use a suit name and log in and then make a change. Well, anyways, they can't figure it out, and we've given them instructions. We've done all the things we can. So, anyways, it is in my opinion that although we added over 2,000 something accounts and X number of characters, that the people that have come new to the server, maybe a handful, and that's probably all we're going to get because in the back of my head, it is screaming that I feel that Crisis was an admin or something to do with leadership on the server, and he stole backups and he went somewhere to try to start up again. So I really don't know, and I don't think we'll ever get a real truthful answer, but that is as much. I'm not hiding anything about the merge. That is everything that we know. Sorry to interrupt, Ray.
No, you're good. It was a question asked. That's what we're here for. So, I kind of answered Ra's al Ghul's question in chat. I love that name, by the way. Huge Arrow fan. Anyway, but yeah, we're working on a new training platform. So all the staff that we have right now, and this is kind of what I was talking about at the beginning, is all of the staff that we have, especially in our leadership, are professionals in real life that apply to the job that they're doing right now. So, for example, I'm a PMP. Jason works in web development management, right? Jason, is that what your title would be defined as?
Developer, sysadmin, mobile app, yeah, you name it.
That one. He does that.
Yeah.
So he's a professional in real life with coding and developing. So you're in good hands there. Lauren Hain, it works with OVH, who provides our systems for us or hosts our systems for us. We've got Harbinger, who is a systems administrator and is our systems administrator. Dragon Lady is an expert because she has been with the server since, God, forever. So everybody here is here for a reason. Everybody we've put in a place for a reason. Dune knows IRC and the forums and everything better than anybody. He can do what we ask him to do in 2 seconds. So, and then Bobby is working on getting his PhD and working on getting to be a developer himself. And so we'll have 2 of Jason, which, I mean, we could really use 20 of Jason, but we don't get that. So soon enough, we'll have 2, and that can only be better for us in the long run. So, yeah. So I guess to answer your question, Ra's al Ghul, we have these old staff members in place for a reason, because they're going to be ones that are training the new ones. So we have these older individuals that have been here forever and are professionals in real life. And if we put them in a position of power and training, what they know and what they do will rub off on the new people. Does that make sense? So we're going to give them the tools to be able to train, and they're going to be the ones doing it. I will provide the tools as a professional and someone that does this for a living, that trains people. And once I give the knowledgeable people the tools, we'll have the professionalism and we'll have the knowledge. So I think in that regard, you'll find that this will be a lot better situation than we've been in the past.
I want to point out something about the operations staff, that in the past, we got in a lot of trouble because we had a pretty heavy hand. the banhammer flew around the room on a regular basis. I had several long talks with Posterian, who's younger. Okay, he's almost 19, so he's younger, but he's been with the server since he was 9 years old. And he brought up a point about the heavy-handed issues that, yeah, 9. He's Jason's brother, so whatever you want to. Anyways, I think what I'm getting to is that our mentality about being lenient, letting some things go, is a little different than it used to be. It's more about allowing people to do some things that we probably wouldn't have in the past, taking them aside and having a conversation instead of just hammering them. Now, when we get the population over 1,000 people, are we going to be able to do that? I don't know. Honest to God, don't know. And we may find that isn't the best methodology to use at that point. That being said, I mean, let's look at what we've done. We've unbanned everybody, even the douchiest of the douches. I know, Gary, you want the banhammer. You do want it, just can't have it. But we've unbanned everybody, so there's no reason that anybody can't be here. There are very few IPs that are banned. They're banned for a reason at this point, security reasons for the most part. We've even worked on a tool that this week that most recently we have realized that in the past there were people that would just threaten the server, cuss me out or whatever, and we would just delete their account. Now, by deleting their account, we didn't actually delete their account. We actually made it unavailable. It's in a deleted status. But the characters are there, all those things. So we're setting up a tool to undo those deletes as people request. I know we did one this week. So we're really about trying to help the population and the community. I mean, some of the issues that people may have had with us were probably a offshoot of the size of the server and having to maintain control. Sort of like the US government right now. Total chaos just doesn't work. So that was my political phrasing for the day. But like I'm saying, everybody that's on this team, operationally, development, everybody is either super experienced or professionals in the real life world. I mean, our development team is like that. Everybody that's on there has something to do with the professional IT environment and information business. So we're going to try to do more with less people this time. That is our goal. Now, that may not be the goal for GMs and BMs because that's hand-in-hand customer service. And you got to have people to do quality customer service. But from a development perspective, we've set up a better arrangement. So I want everybody to be aware that one of the things that we did when we created Gen 2 was looked at some of the problems of the past to make them better. That's it.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess the moral of this story, and we want to express this, is we are fully open to admitting that as an administration, as a staff, mistakes were made in the past, and I don't think any of us would deny that. And the point of all of this is bringing in these people that we have is to give NeverEndless a facelift. It's not just, putting lipstick on a pig. It's turning the pig into a princess, which is a horrible analogy, but we understand that we did things wrong and we're going to fix them. And we're already making progress with that within the staff, our processes, our training. We want to make this a better place from an administrative and staff standpoint so that when you guys have a problem, if something goes wrong, if you want to report a bug, if you want to do something, it goes to the right place and it gets answered, and it gets answered quickly. And kind of transferring to the next topic here, and talking about Jason, since Jason's prepared a speech for you all, I'll let him talk in a second. But Jason has been here for 5 years. He's been here a long time. He's in charge of everything development, and he's the one that makes the magic happen. Along with his development team, there's no doubt about it. Sean or Pastarian, God, I hate names. Archduke, Liraneth at times as well. Victor, who's not here, but is another developer of ours. Everybody plays a very vital role on this team from the development side, but, it all starts at, I guess it goes bottom up, but there's always somebody at the top that is making it all happen. So Jason is that guy, and everything that you see on this server has been pretty much through him. So I just want to not only take a second to thank Jason for everything he's done, but also to give him a second to kind of tell you guys, not everything, but an overview of what he's done. Yeah, Hershey's, we are talking about the Victor. The Victor. So given that, Jason's going to give you his long prepared speech about how what he's done, kind of his favorite things that he's worked on since he started, where he plans to go, what, just he's going to make something up. Go for it, Jason. Have fun.
Thanks, I guess. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Tell the ladies and gentlemen what your favorite thing to work on so far was, and kind of where you want to see the server go from here from a development perspective. No pressure.
None of it's been real fun. There have been some bitch tasks. There really has. Think about it. Since back in August, we removed the customs.
Yep.
Then from there, we had to work on the website and get the tools so that we could deal with players. Then we've done a few merges that inevitably had problems with some corruption, although now we know the source of the corruption, which is huge. Trust me when I tell you, we have hundreds of gigs of MySQL tables. People, check any server around. They don't have that size of databases. We could prune it down and lose history and get rid of old accounts that haven't logged in and things like that, like a lot of people do. But those cause inherent problems. So we haven't done that. And then, this merge took a week. He spent literally one weekend from Friday at 6 o'clock GMT till Sunday night at one point where he just passed out because he had to go to work on Monday. I mean, working the entire time. Our development team, development in WoW is not what the public thinks. If it was easy, there would be no bad servers. Excuse me. The idea that the Shadowmourne quest doesn't work right now. we've been looking at why. We isolated why. But remember, for us to continue to do regular core updates, we can't create a ton of custom hacky kind of fixes. We actually have to either decide that we're going to submit it to Trinity and let them do a pull request from us to add it to the main branch, or we have to wait for them to fix it. Now, as recently as 35 minutes ago, Jason and I were scouring the Trinity wiki, and we found that in the next update, the Shadowmourne quest will probably work. There's 2 or 3 facets that go into it, and honestly, unless you're a dev, you really don't care. You just want it to work. That is right on the horizon. When we changed our server, was that last weekend, Jason?
Weekend before, I think.
2 weeks ago? Okay.
They were beginning of the month.
Oh, that's right. Right.
I think it's
A
due
couple
on
weeks ago.
3rd, so I think it might have been Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. When we changed the hardware and went to this more powerful server, we had a choice to make. And the problem is, Trinity has decided that the majority of the Linux OSs are not what they want people to use. They want you to use a very specific OS, which none of us, it's not a popular OS, right, Jason? It's not a popular Linux flavor.
Well, not for us anyway.
Yeah.
There's probably a few people use it. We just prefer the Red Hat roots instead of Debian.
Right. So we transferred everything. We had a choice to make whether we went to Debian or we stayed where we were. If we went to Debian, we were probably I want to say a week of downtime, because we were going to have to import every one of those. All that data would take days to import. So we opted to do things as quickly as possible, which it wasn't all that quick. We were still down for a day and a half or something. But we have now put ourselves in a situation where an automated update is not possible. We have to do it manually. We can't use GCC, and there's a couple things we have to do. Anyways, we're working on that so that we can start to get our updates back up on a regular basis. That is the project for this weekend, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's where we're at. Like I said, Shadowmourne, Quadro, Krog has been a long time. Well, you don't even know how important Krog has been to this server over the last 5 years. And he's welcome anytime he chooses. He can come on down. He's the next contestant on The Price is Right. But one of the priorities is to get that fix for Shadowmourne in. Whether we manually insert it or because the automated updates, the major core issues, is done right away or not, is to be decided over the weekend. I'll update you guys because I think this is really important to everybody. And our hope is to have Shadowmourne, the quest, working as soon as possible. It's actually a very complicated problem. It's not like just going in the database and saying, okay, I need to populate this NPC and let her rip. There's phasing involved, and there's all sorts of aspects. So I'm not trying to avoid functionality or getting it there. Everybody knows that Shadowmourne being available in the donation shop for $500 is a joke. If anybody doesn't know it's a joke, I want to inform you, it was a joke. Okay? Even the person that bought Shadowmourne a long time ago did not pay $500. Okay? He did donate, but he didn't pay anywhere close to $500. So, and that's been a big question by people, you know. He spent $500 to buy Shadowmourne? No, he did not. He didn't spend $100. That being said, you know, I want this quest working. I'm going out and recruiting guilds that were previously on the server, and that's one of the first questions I get. They want to know if all the high-end content works, which it does. There are some problems with the professor, and they're not game breakers. It makes it kind of harder, actually. But they want to know about in-game content, and it does work. They want to know about the Shadowmourne, because let's be honest, every tank in the game wants Shadowmourne. Well, Quadrille, I'm looking back. About Krog? Quadrille, rewrite your question, because I don't see it. Because I answered the question about Krog. Yes, some of the 80 reps are bugged. Or level 2 80 hardcore BGs. Okay, yeah. Oh, he's not in voice chat. Okay. Dune, can you send him a message and tell him why? Anyways, Jason, do you have a? We're bringing on. We brought on another dev, Mako, M4KO. We have some issues because Jason's a professional web developer, does it for businesses. He uses a framework called MVC. Most of your World of Warcraft sites are built in CMSs, content management systems. God bless him, but Stuart was one of the sloppiest developers you would ever want, hackiest developers you'd ever want to know. And he's a professional developer now for the British government. And actually, he doesn't actually program. He's an engineer. He designs systems, but which is what Stuart's strong suit was. It wasn't coding. So our coding and our back end of our website was an abomination. To call it an abomination is probably nice. He understood it, made sense to him. Nobody else could look at it and make sense of it. So we created a new site from scratch. And because it's not CMS, Mako was a little concerned that he wanted to use Stuart would. I've had the conversation with him, Hershey's. He actually, here's one for you. If you know Stuart, people will just pass out for this. Stuart apologized that when he was here, he wasn't a better developer. Let that one sink in for a minute. Anyways, so Mako's going to work on the armory for right now because we can't use his CMS. We're not CMS based. We're MVC based, which is more database driven content system as opposed to a content management system. And so he's going to be working on the armory. Hopefully we'll have, I I did get that on tape. Hopefully we'll have an armory in a few weeks that is going to be pretty impressive, 3D modeling and everything like that. So that'll help. This is a work in progress, people. We had our choice in the very beginning. We could have rebranded and created Warmain 2, which is basically what Molten did. They got screwed, everything got ugly, people started to leave, and so what did they do? They pulled the ripcord and created a new server. That is what is Warmain. We could have done the same thing. As a matter of fact, there are people in this room that think that that was a better idea, and that's okay. But I wanted NE to continue. I think there was a lot of legacy history and things that would have been bad to lose. That all being said, our development team now, people that are on it, are all professional developers. And yeah, I would love to right now fix the content for the what does it say about level 80s if Wrath of the Lich King players want to join and come back. Well, I mean, Grant, the things that are broken are like reps, and they all need to be done. SM, the Shadowmourn's getting fixed, like I said. Transmog's not really a 335 element. Unless... Go ahead, Jason.
We can do it. It's a possibility, but it's hacky and not as it is in Blizz to start with. But it's possible. But it depends. Do we spend that time on Transmog or on the other systems? That's the only thing we have at the moment is what takes priority.
It also gets us off the main tree of Trinity, right?
I can make... As long as there's no weird hooks to go in, like all our custom content, we don't edit the Trinity core and such. We've got hooks, which allows us to code outside of Trinity to then inject into Trinity's core, so it doesn't cause the merge conflicts. I can do stuff like that. It depends on just exactly how we're going to integrate it, but it could be limited to very few merge issues. So it's something we could look into, definitely. If it's something we want to do, it could be... And yeah, it is.
It is doable. But...
It'll be all controlled by a NPC with text, mostly, so it's not the best looking thing going. I've seen a few 335s with it integrated in, so it's doable. It's just...
But like we said, it's a hacky fix. It doesn't belong. And we run the risk of adding a hacky system that causes us bigger issues in the long run. And I'm not saying I don't want to develop, but we want to optimize our chances of using Trinity and all their developers as a resource, which we never could do in the past because of all the custom items, all the custom hooks, all the hacky fixes. I mean, the whole system of creating a mask for the custom item in the core, which I'm sure none of you even know had to be done, pretty much stopped us from being able to take fixes from Trinity. And, whether it's a database fix from Trinity or any code fix from Trinity, that's just gravy. Here we have our guys working on things, and yes, we have set list of priorities. We really do have a development priority list that we go over every week. Actually, go over it twice a week, don't we? Because we go over it in the staff meeting, but we also go over it in the directors meeting.
Yep, twice.
The three of us.
We need to update that before the meeting.
But that's what you do.
No. I created it.
Okay.
We'll work on it as a team. This is a team effort, ladies and gentlemen.
It really is. So, I mean, that's why if you think things are being developed slowly, well, they are. We really only have 3 or 4 core devs, and some of them do very, very specific things. Victor works on what would you call it, Jason? Like a packet framework level? Opcodes, and his big project right now, and can I tell him, Ray?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
Yeah.
His big project is to get the in-game warden system to acknowledge and activate when people are using Hitchhiker. That sounds really trivial, but if you know what the warden system is, it's what alerts the game to hacking. And it's become very sophisticated in the last few years. But one thing it's never actually been focused on, and it has a lot to do with changing opcodes and changing GUIDs, right?
Dynamic memory changes on this stuff, so
Right.
the warden was only ever done for static, but
Right.
it should be dynamic, so we're changing it to the Blizz-like warden instead of a custom warden.
Right. So, I mean, that's a big deal. Victor is doing this completely aside from the rest of things. It's a project we gave him so he could walk away, go work on it, and bring it back to us. It works for his real life situation. He's a contract developer in Romania. He travels and stuff like that. So, yes, Alteri is he's our go-to guy when it comes to checking out bugs and reporting bugs and getting verifications so that we can put it in the Git to actually be looked at and worked on. And that's where we have Lauren Hayden and Pestarian, who are becoming Trinity Wiki experts. They go in, they go see if it's been reported. Is there a fix? Is there a hacky fix? Was it removed? Is it in the branch now? And if it's not, then we sit down and figure out, okay, are we going to wait for Trinity, or are we going to put somebody on it to fix it? That's how we handle development. I think I even did a video on that and explained it a little bit. So did I save you, Jason? Do you have anything you want to say?
Thank you. Only one point. While you're all here, if you see anything on the sites, forums, which we're lacking, you want to see features, post in the suggestions or in a support ticket, and we'll get into it. We're still implementing a lot of stuff, and we're still looking at ideas on how to make it more either user-friendly or more interesting for you to be in those areas. So if you've got ideas on how to or want to see something in one of those areas, let us know.
It really depends, Lucifer and Grantshaw. It really depends on what kind of bug it is. What may be a bug in game may be a database related issue. If it's a database related issue, we can do that really quick. If it's a code related issue, there's a lot of investigation that has to go into it, because if we go to fix it, add the moderation team to the server groups. Do you mean who's in game at the time? Like staff in game at the time? Oh, we can do that.
Kind of like vBulletin has, you know how when there's people online, you can see at the bottom of the page.
Oh, in the forums.
Yeah.
Well, he's talking about wanting to know who staff is, so who he can contact, because he doesn't know who the staff is.
Well, Discord has it, but it's not on the website, so that's a fair point.
Right.
We can add a organizational tree for the players. We have one in the staff forums, and I'll create one for the player forums as well.
I can have a on the staff thing on the site, so it can link to his profiles, etc. in the forum and that stuff like that. I can link that in.
Okay.
We already have all the profile system. I just don't think it's really made visible that it's there in the website for people to use. Same with PMs and stuff like that. So I can get all that more visible probably and get that. But I can have a look about an online. I'll have to have a look how we can go about doing that because it's tied to the game accounts. It could be a thing, but yeah, we'll add it to his list and definitely see if we can get it in.
In the
Right,
meantime, we'll
sticky
create
note.
an organizational tree for you all to follow, and we'll put hyperlinks in the BB code that link to our profiles.
And someone stole my sticky notes. This is not good.
Ooh, somebody's in trouble. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a staff meeting shortly here in about 5 minutes. So let's get some last minute questions in. We're going to have another meeting, a town hall meeting in the next week or two. So,
His voice sounds like
Oh,
Gary, we're the same person secretly.
I like that
Oh,
question.
about the quest thing, I will restore that soon as my server finishes its project, which it's 99% done. So in the next hour, it should have finished its workload. I'll then pull the quest data from the old server, unpackage it, or from the backup server, unpackage it, and then put it into the new core. But I will need to restart the core, so it should be effective. Hopefully by tomorrow night, let's say.
He wants to know why Winter Grasp is closed, and I'll answer hopes.
Winter Grasp is closed because it's broken at this moment in time. It locks to either Horde or Alliance, and it can't switch. Trinity does have a full patch for it, so I haven't touched it because they was pushing it. I haven't checked up on it, but I will follow up on it and see how long that's going to take. If not, and we're wanting it sooner, then I'll script it myself. But I'll check up on it and try and get something in the forums or something with the update.
Okay, so how do I put this so that everybody doesn't get insulted? Okay, so putting the number of players online, or even the names of the players online, at the moment would be a detriment. Let me give you a reason. You're looking for a new server, you show up at NeverEndless and you see there's 7 people on it at 11 o'clock East Coast time on a Wednesday. Are you going to join that server, or are you going to move on?
We could.
You're going to move on. I know we can, Jason.
I was thinking of something else instead of numbers. Having a bar which shows who's dominating Alliance or Horde on at the moment, so it don't give a number. It just shows a bar with like.
And that's fine. You know what? I'm not trying to lie to the public, but I don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot either. And
yeah, that's what I'm thinking about the bar while we thing. As soon as we get thing, that's fine. We can throw it on.
You know what? If we had 100 players online all day and all night, I would actually accept saying, "Hey, there's this many Alliance, this many Horde, bah." And I'd even be willing to, a link to a list that would show the names of the players that are online and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some of the elements that other servers have. At the moment, I think it's a detriment to recruiting. And let's be honest, we are really trying to, I know that it's funny because we are an organization that has focuses in different directions. And, development is doing one thing and operations is doing another. And to be honest, we've created a pseudo department of marketing to try to recruit. I spent the last 2 days talking to guild leaders, trying to convince them to come back or to change servers. And trust me, folks, that's a humbling experience. The first thing I find really interesting, and it makes me laugh, they don't know who I am. And they don't know who NE is. Well, that tells me they're not historic private server players because they would know. But at the moment, Hopes, it's not the right thing to put up there. I'm not going to lie. We don't have the population to display the population because it'd be a negative.
And I kind of want to.
You know what? I've been accused. I know. One more thing, real quick. You know what? You said that, we could put fake numbers up there. We could, but when people go to the trouble of logging in and then they do a who and see 7 people instead of 140, they're going to be even more pissed.
And it kind of brings me to the last comment to all of you, and I think this is hypercritical, is you all don't realize necessarily, and I say this very honestly, and I mean it when I say it, is word of mouth is kind of how NeverEndless got so big the first time. Did we have help from a big private server that happened to fall apart and a lot of their players came to us? Yes. But it all started with one person coming over, bringing their entire guild over, and that guild went and talked to their friends and brought them over. And it was a span of like a week, and NeverEndless suddenly had 500 people online. And so when I say that if you tell one person, and that person tells 2 people, and those 2 people tell 2 people, that's how we're going to get big. So if you think that, talking to a friend or going on, telling your friend that plays on Warmane that the server would be a better fit or something along those lines, that's how we're going to get big. So realistically, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we succeed, is through every single one of you. There are non-staff members right now. There are how many of you guys in this chat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So if the 9 of you tell 2 people to come, and those 2 people each come, we now have 18 more players. Now take those 18 and have them tell 2 people. That's 32, so on, so 36, so on and so forth. That's my point. So
we need your help to market the server. We're doing the marketing. We need your help. We need word of mouth. You guys that are talking about rating, if somebody took a video while you were rating at one encounter or something like that, we would put it up right away. We would use it as a tool so that we could show people that this boss works and that, look, this is a raid on the server and these players are busting it. Photographs. If you take down a boss and you want to take a group shot or a raid shot, all those things are super, super helpful. Do them and send them to me. I promise we will use them. We will get them on the web because Facebook is a perfect example. We have 4,000 people who have liked the NeverEndless page. When we put up a post, the reach of that post is in the 300 to 500 range. Yet, the comments that we get from people are probably 20 people. See where we're paring down? So if those people that make comments have their network, and their network sees their comment on the thread, and they're a WoW player, look, one thing leads to another. And, well, Grant, it's cross-faction is the problem. We've talked extensively with Trinity, and Jason and everyone has decided that the real problem is the cross-factioning. That's what causes the problems in that raid. So,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, given we are on a time crunch, we're going to keep this town hall chat open until the end of the night tonight, server time, so midnight server time, and then we're going to close it off. This recording will be posted to the forums, to Reddit, everything, so everybody else can hear the conversations we've had. We are going to, I believe Altieri and his Battlemaster team are setting up an event or a raid for you all in game after this. So if you're not in game, I would get in game. Method, if you want a guild channel set up, please private message Dune and he will get that set up for you. Have your guild master message them and Dune will set it up for you. Given that, keep an eye out. We're going to advertise another town hall meeting soon. Remember, the announcements channel in Discord is always your hub for getting any information that you need. Also the forums, the website, and also to end it, Black Swan, myself, and not Jason, don't PM Jason. Black Swan and myself are very happy to answer any private messages you guys ever want to send. I don't have mine deactivated. Grant, so we're getting services added to the vote shop for Arthas in the next couple days. We're just finishing up some tweaks on it and want to make sure it works 100% so we don't break anything. But we already are on it. They will exist. Don't you worry. But on that note, our PMs are always open. We encourage you all actually to message us if you have a question. If you ask me to give you items for free, I will then proceed to block you. So don't do that. But if you have a genuine question, a concern, a comment, a suggestion, you can always PM me if you don't want everyone to see it. I'm sure the same goes for Bobby as well. And the same goes for anybody on our staff, with the exception of the devs. Don't bother the devs, they're working. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for coming to the town hall meeting. Your opinion and your voice does matter to us, and that's why we hosted this event here. So everybody have a great night. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to spread the word. And thank you guys, really. Thank you as players are so important, and you really do matter to us and the team. So don't forget that. Keep that in mind. You are what makes NeverEndless NeverEndless. So thank you. And everybody have a wonderful night. All the staff members, if you guys can move down to the staff meeting room, we're going to make this quick.